Today we're going to talk about Broodmother, who is a hero that's actually very strong right now. The new Broodmother can be played either as an offlane hero or as a mid lane hero. And in today's video we're going to take a look at how to play as an offlaner. We're going to look at two games, one by old 11 and the other by 33. And we're going to see how strong this new Broodmother offlane build is. So what you want to do as Broodmother is you want to start with the webs and go to your lane and lay down some webs. You can either just lay out down only 3 of your webs, or what old 11 is going to do here is he's going to go and join in the rune fight. So you want a web for that, of course. Thing is, but Broodmother is not that good at rune fights, so it doesn't really get anything done here, and he just retreats here and didn't even bother to put a web down there. The problem with the new Broodmother, she's not that strong in lane, so she's kind of weak right now. Just want to try to get as many last hits and so on as possible, but it's really not easy. He is actually pulling creeps here. He cut this tree here to do this. Not showing up properly in the replay here, but that's what he did. And so this is one way of dealing with your weakness in the laning stage. You can see here that he's going straight for a soul ring. I don't like that much. I think it's better to get like a wraith pin or something at the start, and maybe even like an extra item. We could like boots or something, or even over venom if you're doing decently well in the lane, because you don't need that much mana right at the start, but you definitely do need lots of mana once you have level 6. That's when you need all the mana you can get. So as you can see, once you have this insatiable hunger, you can actually do quite a bit here. You also have an overvenom here on the Spirit Breaker, plus of course the 70% here, allowing them to get a kill here. It's not always going to be possible, but yeah, if you have some sort of slow in your lane or some sort of disable, this insatiable hunger can be really good. But if not, it's still a nice tool for trading, because it gives you a lot of bonus damage for the early game, as well as lots of lifesteal. So whenever you're low, you just turn on this and hit some creeps or hit the enemy heroes, and then you basically get back to close to full HP. This is also why you don't need more than a single tango here at the start. And in some cases you might need to get some extra regen, but usually a single set of tangos is going to be fine. When the lane is fairly passive like this, is temporarily here 1 versus 1, you can use your insatiable hunger to do some better trading. Oftentimes you see Broodmothers only get a single point in this and then get Silken Bowler at level 4. Here is choosing for the insatiable hunger, which is also fine, but it's sort of better for the laning stage, but worse later on when you really want this. Have as many points of this as possible, because it allows you and your spiders to actually kill people. Here's 3 points in webs now, which means you can have up to 7 webs. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's not even used all his webs yet, but still having extra points in this web is actually nice. You usually want to actually max out this first, because it gives you so much regen and movement speed, and it's not just about the number of webs. And he still has plenty of webs now available, so if he ever has to go outside of all this area here, you can easily lay down new webs without destroying the old ones. I'm not sure exactly why he has a Gloves of Haste, but he is actually going to go for mana boots, which I think is the best boots for Broodmother. You can see just as he hits level 6, he's going to have these mana boots, and this is going to help him out a lot. You need lots and lots of mana. So you could also go for an Orchid. That's also a perfectly viable approach on Broodmother, but I think if you're in the offlane, going for this sort of build is better. You're going to see that 11 is going to go for Guarding Greaves and sort of play more of a utility style Broodmother. And I think that's the better approach if you're in the position 3 at least. Mid lane it might be different, but yeah, it's actually really nice to get those mana boots. Also, of course, were buffed in the recent patch, only costing 800 gold now to upgrade them. So at this stage of the game, you're really powerful, and all you need to exert your power is mana, because mana allows you to spam those spawn spiderlings, and spiderlings are quite hard to deal with, and even if they can deal with the spiderlings, you still actually do quite a lot of magic damage. No points in Silken Ball yet, which is a bit of a problem. Means that his kill potential is much lower now. But of course, you're also here playing against Slark and Abaddon, so they can purge off that debuff, so Silken Bowler is not as powerful in this matchup as it usually is. So probably that's why he actually went for that second level insatiable hunger rather than getting Silken Bowler earlier. But now our next level is definitely going to want the Bowler here. So usually as Broodmother you can take this tier 1 tower fairly easily here, and Slag can't really contest these spiders at this point, and neither can Abaddon, so he's just going to take over the jungle now, and the enemy is going to have to try to counter by taking this tower. Of course, Broodmother is not very mobile outside of the web, so you pretty much want to play inside your webs all the time. So you want to typically, as a Radiant hero, you can be playing in this part of the map, and you're pretty much never leaving this part of the map until you've taken these 2 lanes, basically. So we're just going to keep putting pressure here onto these towers, farm the giant camps, and get some of our items online. He's queuing up a pipe here. Pipe, of course, very good at keeping the spiders alive. It's an extra 400 HP basically for the spiders. It is before reduction, so spiders have same kind of magic resist that heroes do. So it's an end effect against magic damage. It's an extra 300 HP on spiders, but there's still a lot because these spiders, you know, they basically doubles their durability against magic damage. And this game is a good demonstration of what can happen if you're having a good game on Broodmother. You can see Broodmother is top of net worth, the other lanes also going pretty well. And one of the big strength of Broodmother, why she has such a high win rate, is that if you're winning the early game, you can finish games incredibly quickly. And that's exactly what we're going to see here. It's just going to keep pushing in this lane. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is also doing fairly well. Even though you're super strong, you don't want to go overboard, so this is definitely a mistake. You should just be at this tower, hitting this tower. Instead, he's going to try to dive this Abaddon, and this is not a good idea. He's in a lot of danger of dying here, but he's going to try to walk it off here. And he's just fast enough that he manages to do it, so a lot of space created here, but still, I think it would have been much better, much safer just to hit this tower. But of course, you can do a lot of damage as Broodmother, and the enemy team has to really respect you. It's also really great if your teammates rotate towards your lane, just take out those towers, because it is a bit harder to take out this tier 2 tower on your own. So especially if you have a nice item hand like this very early pipe here, means you should be able to win any team fights. And so it's a great time for teammates to come in. It's still a bit too early to go towards the high ground. So just taking a tier 2 tower is enough. And now we can shift some of these webs. You can, if you just put on a web, it will delete the oldest web that you have, but you can manually delete some of your own webs by just selecting them and then using this ability. And this allows all 11 to go over there and put in some webs in the mid lane. So he's put up this sort of highway to go from the top lane, hold the mid lane, and he's grouping on this team trying to take this tier 2 tower in mid. And after that, they can maybe go for the Roshan or even just straight for the high ground, because they are really, really strong right now. This is not the best position for the Radiant to fight, but they do have Lunar Ultimate, which was very strong here. And so they're allowed to retreat here. Even got a kill there. But in the meantime, Broodmother is not joining this fight. This would be stupid to join because it's too far away from your web. So he's just going to go and attack the high ground here. And anything either has to respond to this, in which case they might lose the fight here, or they're going to take a lot of damage here onto the objectives on the high ground. It's important to use your spiders just to focus those buildings and then use as many spawn spiderlings as possible so you get as many spiders as you can. Now finally, some reactions here from Centaur. Actually had to buy back for this. So in fact, it turns out the rest of his team won that team fight, and now this is basically going to end the game. It's 15 minutes here, or less than 15 minutes, and already taking this tier 3. You should actually be attacking the center, just attack the towers here. There we go, and they're going to get some Raxes here. You can see the items here. There's a pipe, he has mech, all the way towards Guarding Greaves, and these items are so strong at this stage of the game, and there's just no way the enemies can fight into them. So they're just going to keep going here, take this lane as well, and the game is gonna go on for like a little bit, 2 minutes or something. But yeah, this game at this point is already over. If you take Distracts so quickly, you've basically won the game. So this is gonna be like a 17-minute GG here, and this is how fast you can win with Broodmother if you're having a good early game and the rest of your team is also having a good game. Okay, this is next game. We have 33 here as Broodmother, and watch this placement of the webs. I really like this. This is one web over here, gives him a lot of access here to hide in the trees. This is going to allow him to walk down here and escape like this. And here, this web gives him access to the hard camp and to this tree area. I really like this setup. I think this is the best setup if you're in the Dire offlane. And he's not even going to bother with the rune fight because you're not really contributing much to a rune fight as a Broodmother. So against Winter Wyvern, it's not the easiest here. Again, we see a game against Slark, and he's going to try to trade here and doing a decent job of it, but Winter Wyvern, of course, with his Arctic Burn is a bit annoying, but thankfully you have a lot of regen in our webs, and then once you get level 2 we get that Insatiable Hunger. So at the start we're going to play this pretty passively, just get the Wraith Band here. It's even getting, I think, extra regen. Yeah, there we go, because he saw that the trading was not going too well, and now he's queuing up the Soul Ring, Venom, a stick. All these are decent items you can get. There's no way you can actually help with Rubik, so we just have to walk it off. He has boots, so he's going to be fine. And once he has Insatiable Hunger, he's going to try to trade against the Slark, and doing a pretty good job of this. At this stage, you still only have 3 webs, so you don't really want to put webs down here yet, because these 3 webs are too valuable. So he's just gonna try to play this passively and just don't die, get as many last hits as possible, and don't do anything too fancy. Just try to trade whenever you have the hunger, and that's pretty much it. He's sort of keeping a skill point right now, because he's just not quite sure whether he wants an extra level web or the bowler, but the bowler, of course, with direct fighting is much stronger. So he's going to go for it now, and this might possibly be even a kill on the Winter Wyvern, which of course he would not get here without the web. And he could have actually just put on another web here and probably gotten the kill, but he doesn't go for it. I think that's a mistake actually. But at least this guy's very low now, and can't really do much. Actually has to TP back home. We went for an Overvenom here, which I think is quite strong. If you're really having problems in the lane, you probably don't want to go for this, but the lane is going decently well at least. I think Overvenom was very powerful. In the previous game, of course, All 11 did not go for the Overvenom because they already had Overvenom on the Spirit Breaker in that game. He's even gone for boots now, so this is sort of a build that you probably don't want to go for if you're having a really good start. Because if you're having a worse start, then you kind of need that Soul Ring. You can't delay it that much. You're still going to have the Soul Ring before it gets to level 6, so that's when really your big mana problems start. So there's some more trading here, but on his own, it's not actually going to work out too well for him. So he has to retreat and has to play it rather carefully now. Actually chewing through his tangos rather quickly here, but he's going to have Insatiable Hunger in a couple of seconds, and then he can get back to full HP. And of course, Soul Ring flying out now. This is of course the most important item, but yeah, if you can delay it a little bit, if you can afford to get some other items before you need this, before you need the mana on level 6, then that's quite good. Alright, we finally have level 6 now, and this means we're going to want to get some of our spiders up. And yeah, easily get last hits with this. It does 300 damage, so at the start I can even one-shot these range creeps, but once they get extra HP, you're no longer going to be quite one-shotting them. At least not until you get the level 10 talent with the extra 80 damage. So we're playing here against a Slark and a Winter Wyvern, so they can't really deal with these spiderlings too well. We can put on a lot of pressure here. And yes, Slark, once he has the Dark Pact, it's going to do some damage, but it's not actually enough to kill our spiders. Only 150 damage at this point. Even with maxed out, it's only 300 damage, so it's not actually going to kill off our spiderlings. only our spider rides have only 120 HP. We can play it quite freely. You want to push in this lane and take all these creep camps here. And we can also even put a web up here to take this camp and cut the wave here and just play really aggressively and take all the farm. We can even do this if the Slug is not nearby. We can just go and take his tower. There's not too much Gunnarsson can do. It's also hard to actually rotate into this because Broodmother can just run away once the TPs come in. So 33 is going to take his tower for free here. So he's actually having a pretty good lane here. Is coming out a little bit ahead against this Slug. But the problem is the rest of his team is not doing all that great. Yeah, if you're playing offlane, Broodmother, usually the go-to item build, in my opinion at least, is to get Guardian Greaves and Pipe. The order in which you get all these items kind of depends a bit. Sometimes you might want to get Mech first and then go Pipe or something like that. It always depends. But yeah, these are the two big items you want to go for that both make your spiders a lot tankier and also, of course, help out your team and allow you to actually team fight. It's only the offlane anyway. You don't need to scale super hard into the late game. And you can just focus on building team items that will help your team win the fights, which of course is a big problem that Broodmother tends to have in sort of the usual item build, because you're sort of naturally really good at killing a single hero, which makes you good at pickoffs, but means that your team fight impact tends to be a bit low. And that's also why Broodmother often tends to lose in the late game if it goes through the late game. But with this build, it's sort of more relying on your mid and your carry to actually carry you into the late game, which is of course what you usually want as an offlaner. So once you have all the spiders up and all these webs in the enemy jungle, the enemy team is going to have a really hard time actually contesting you in the jungle. This Winter Wyvern is trying to do something here, but yeah, he just dies. And you see that he is always staying away from the spider, so he can't get ulti there. And both the supports here just dying a very quick death with the help of the Scrimstroke. So really well done here from both of them. And like even the Storm, of course, as long as he's mana, it's going to be hard to kill. But if you have some sort of disable coming in, you can definitely be killed. So like for example this Rubik, if he can come in here and get off a telekinesis, maybe telekinesis into an Inkswell or a Phantom Embrace would be a possibility to get a kill here. And his Storm is actually being dueled here. Wow, okay, Rubik gets dueled. I didn't even see that. Very nice, well done. If a team is fighting somewhere like down there, you don't want to join them. But if they're fighting in an area like this, it's close to your webs anyway, you do want to join in here because it's super powerful and want to help them out. But they're diving in a bit too deep there. It's actually really stupid that they're diving this deep. And so they all die, and there's not really much you can do as Broodmother here. So try and get in here, but it's not going to happen. So yeah, a lot of deaths here on his team. It's a 4-for-3 exchange, so it's not super terrible, but definitely not good. And he goes in here, tries to go for the kill here, but this is a really low percentage play here. So had plenty of mana jump away, so this was really stupid. He shouldn't have gone in there, should have just retreated. And so he dies, and all the advantage that the Radiant team had is now gone. And what's especially bad is that their carry, the Juggernaut, is really poor right now. He's actually 6th in net worth here, which is not where you're going to be as a carry, especially not if you're going for an item that's not really going to help you that much in farming. So if you're going for like a Battle Fury, you can catch back up quite easily. But if you're starting with the Ancient Yasha build and you're this far behind, it's kind of worrying. So TP back in mid because he sees action going on there. It's also where his closest webs are. So he's going to try to help out his team here in this fight, but it's not going to happen. So a lot of deaths here on Radiant back to back. And it started as a pretty good Broodmother game, has now turned into a big problem case. He still has a nice amount of net worth, but so does the enemy Slug, and that carry of course is far behind. So what you want to do when you're playing with the Broodmother is you want to play around her at this stage of the game because now she's really strong. So Enemy team actually gets a pick off here and wants to go for the fight, but everyone Radiant is present, and so they're going to be able to kill off this Legion commander. There we go. And so they exchanged a support for a core. Always a good trade. Now it's tier 2 time, of course, with a Broodmother plus a Leshrac. You can kill these towers rather quickly. But actually another fight going on here. Lina is super vulnerable, and Winter Wyvern is as well, but Spiders mostly dying in Storm Spirit, but that's okay. He got 1 kill, and tier 2 tower has been taken by the creeps, so a nice little win. But our Juggernaut is still struggling with the farm. Big fight is going on in the mid lane. Juggernaut has been ulted here, but he's going to be fine. So we come in here with a pipe. This makes our fighterlings much more tanky and allows us to actually use them in fights, and Winter Wyvern is going to die here. So we get 2 for 1 so far, and this guy's also going to die without a doubt. So this is another nice fight there, but we can see the network is still very close, and of course Storm Spirit and Slark are really good at going on the back lines and killing off people there. So far it's kind of an even exchange, and you want to sort of stay back a little bit here and rely more on magic damage in these fights usually, at least if the enemy firepower is still there. Otherwise you might be able to go in with an insatiable hunger if there's most of the spells already gone, but you want to be sort of very mobile in these fights and use your great mobility to stay alive. And so while this fight started out pretty nice, in the end the other team comes out slightly ahead here. Look at how 33 is playing this fight. So here Leshrac gets caught, tries to save him, but it's not happening, so now he's just going to retreat. But the rest of the team is coming in, so it's going to stay around here and use the mobility of his webs to stay outside of the direct line of fire and weave in and out of the fight. Gotten 1 kill already here. Gonna play it slow, not gonna overcommit, and as the enemy team jumps in here, it's gonna do some stuff here. See an ultimate here coming out of Juggernaut. It goes in there, goes back again, and it's gonna have another spawn spiderlings in a second. So that's gonna be able to get a kill here on the Winter Wyvern, and then Lina is very low but doesn't quite manage to get her. So in the end here, it's actually a very nice fight for them, and this is how you want to fight as Broodmother. You don't want to go straight in, you want to go in and out, leaving another fight. A sort of similar way to how, let's say, Slark would usually play a fight. And after this one fight, they can go straight for a Roche. Of course, Broodmother, even this item build still is quite good at roaching. Also, this means that your spiderlings actually survive for a long time against the slam from Roshan. So they're gonna do this roach really fast and secure the Aegis. Of course, it's very important to take away this Aegis from the Storm Spirit, and they're actually gonna have it now on Leshrac so that he can't be killed as easily. After Greaves and Pipe, it's a bit wide open which item we're gonna go for next. You could go for the AC, which is a very solid choice. There's also lots of other choices you can go for. So, for example, a cheap item you might want to consider is actually Veil of Discord, because actually a big part of your magic damage, is actually magic damage. And especially if you have a team like this where there's a good amount of magic damage, like from this Leshrac and also less extent from these supports, it might actually be worthwhile to go for a Veil of Discord. You can also go for just a straight up Hex, a very nice disable item, great for solo kills. You can go for Solar Crest, especially if you have this like a strong carry that you want to buff up here. But in this game is not that much the case because Juggernaut is having a really poor game here. But that can often be a great item on Broodmother. You can go for something like a E-Blade, also of course boosts your magic damage, and it's also sort of a semi-right-click item, which also gives you a lot of agility, of course. There's many options to follow up after these sort of core items. You might even go for something like a Heaven's Hellbird against particular heroes. There's many options here. Big fight going on here. in the mid lane. Of course, he wants to join in, uses all of his auras here, and in fact, into Wyvern not really finding the right targets here with his ultimate. And this allows 33 to come in here, get lots of kills, beyond godlike now. And so now finally things are going well here for this team. And even our struggling Juggernaut is slowly catching up here. Of course, the big advantage of Broodmother is when you win this kind of fight, you can punish the enemy team so heavily because you take those objectives so fast with all those spiders. In terms of talents, of course, you go for the Spawn Spiderling talent, level 10, 15% cooldown reduction. Works great, not just with your own natural abilities, but also with all these active items that you have. And then level 20, you go for the spider attack damage. A very, very powerful talent. If your spiders are alive at all, it just makes them so much better. It basically more than doubles their damage output. So this is what you want to go for. The Spiderlings get plus 18, so 15 plus 18, more than double damage, and Spider Bites, it's an even bigger percentage-wise increase. So right now, they've taken 2 lanes of Raxus. The game is not quite over yet, but from here on out, it's gonna be rather easy. Because after you take these 2 Raxus, then you want to start shifting over your webs. And focus on the other lanes. But like until that point, you pretty much always want to play like in this part of the map. But now, starting to put up some webs down here, because they want to rotate towards the bottom lane. But yeah, this is how you play Broodmother in the off lane, in my opinion. There's also plenty of players that still go for more of a right-click oriented build, going things like Orchid. But I feel like as an offlaner, this is pretty much the build you want to go for. Pretty much almost every game you're going to go Guardian Greaves, Pipe, and of course Soaring at the start. And after that, it's a bit more wide open. AC is good, E-Blade is good, lots of items are good there. I hope you found this of interest, and I hope you try out Broodmother in the offlane, or in the mid lane for that matter. And if you want to see more of me, come check out my stream at twitch.tv/Gunnarsson, where I usually stream on Wednesday evening and Sunday afternoon. This Wednesday I had some internet problems, so there was no stream on this Wednesday, but those problems are now resolved. So this Sunday stream, which is depending when I post this, either today or tomorrow. So we're going to stream then, and hopefully I'm going to see some of you there. Where on this stream I not only play Dota, I also analyze some of the replays that you guys submit. This is completely free service. Just come to the stream and go post one of your game IDs into the chat, and then I can take a look at one of your games. And hopefully I will see you there, and goodbye.